this video, you're going to see me mostly in the kitchen having a few frustrating moments with my cooking. So stay tuned to find out what I found a little bit frustrating about it, but in the end, my dessert turned out wonderfully. Hello and happy Valentine's Day. We're all set up here to make our romantic red velvet cheesecake cookie. Can you believe it? This is our Valentine's treat, and I am making this for Moosie. Before I begin, I have to share my outfit. So I have my sweater on, the one that I picked up a couple of years ago at Walmart, and it's just filled with hearts, and I love it. But the favorite thing that I wear every year is the necklace and the earrings, which are quite large, that all my 6 kids gave to me. Honestly, they were, let's see, Colleen was in junior high, so that meant Mikey was in junior high, and that meant that all the rest of them were in high school, or even maybe a little older. And they picked this out themselves. They paid for it with their own money, and I just love it. Look at these earrings. Aren't these terrific? And all these beautiful hearts on here. Can you see it? I just love it. I know it could need a little shining up, but not today. I do have a ring on that Moosie gave me with a matching bracelet. Oh, this was several years ago for Valentine's Day, so I'm all Valentined out, and I hope that you find someone, a partner, a hubby, a friend, a grandchild, a granddaughter, a daughter, some special Valentine, even a pet. I have Shamu out there, and Shamu, I think, is waiting for something. Probably Shamu will get a big hug from me. So I am not putting on an apron today. I'll just get right to it. Now, I've laid everything out just to show you what is in this special recipe. And I looked and looked for something very Valentine-y, something that my hubby loves, something that I love, and something that I could do that's different. And as you know, I always like to do something a little bit different for you. So this dessert starts with the Red Velvet Cake Mix. Now, you can get this in any store. This happens to be a Pillsbury, but I think Betty Crocker and all sorts of other people make it too. Now, the directions on the back do call for 3 eggs and a little more oil. But honestly, in the directions for this cookie, and it is a cookie, but a big fat one, it does tell you to only use 2 eggs and a 1/3 cup of oil, vegetable oil. That part is the cookie part. Now, the filling part, which is basically a cream cheesecake, and I've already put the softened cream cheese in here. It calls for 1/2 of a brick. So that would be 4 ounces of cream cheese. It calls for maybe 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, and also 1 egg yolk, which I've already put in here. It's just the yolk. I didn't save the white. I don't have anything that I'll be putting it in right now. And also 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. Now, I always use Splenda, and it doesn't make a difference in taste, I don't think. But being a diabetic, I always like to save a little on the sugar. But I'll eat the rest of it, that's for sure. So in here, I've already begun. I have put in my mixing bowl the contents of the red velvet cake. Now, I am excited to see the color that this turns. And that's the reason I wanted red velvet, mainly because of the color. And you know what? It is a great taste, too. I think Neiman Marcus has a cake, specially called the Neiman Marcus cake, that starts with a recipe that starts with the red velvet cake mix. So let's begin. I do have an immersion blender. I also have one of those hand mixers. I don't have one of those big tabletop mixers, mainly because I don't have the countertop for it. Plus, I don't think I ever really used it. I always relied on those hand mixers. But this, to me, I have used when I mix cheesecakes and things, and I love it. This is a new one that I happened to get a couple years ago. And this is a German brand called a Mueller. And these are wonderful. They'll mix anything, really. So let's get to it. So I'm going to start with 2 eggs. I'm going to put those in first. 1, 2. And 1/3 of a cup of the vegetable oil. Put that in. And you know, I might as well start with my blender. Okay, here's a hint. Number 1, I would advise do not use an immersion blender. There is a reason why they tell you to use 1 less egg and a little less oil, I think. It's because it's a cookie mix. It's not going to be a cake mix. So as I started to mix it, and number 1, I had a problem trying to plug it into a wall over there in this tiny little cottage with big adobe brick walls. I don't have a lot of outlets around, and this hardly reached my table, and it kept shutting off, so I had trouble mixing it. So you're not going to see me mixing it. It is all mixed, but it was awful trying to mix it with this. They even tell you in the directions, do not be upset when you see that the mixture is supposed to be thick. It's not going to be nice and runny like a cake mix, because you do have 1 less egg that they tell you to use. So don't follow the directions for the cake. Follow the directions that I'm giving you for the cookie. But use a hand mixer to mix it up, okay? That would be better. So now we're going to go on to the cream cheese. Now I have softened the 4 ounces. Remember, it's not a full brick. It's only 4 ounces, which is half a brick. Look, I've already stained my fingers trying to lick it. Probably my tongue is red now too. But it was awful trying to clean this thing. And my cream cheese is probably going to be a little streaked with red. But I'm going to try this again. Maybe I should just do it by hand. But I did soften the cream cheese a little bit for maybe half a minute or 45 seconds in the micro, just to make it creamier. I have to hide my red fingers here. Just remember that I guess this stains too. So now we're going to mix the cream cheese, but I will show you how thick this is. Here we go. Now here is our red velvet cookie mix. See how thick it is? If I put this upside down, it wouldn't fall out. So the mixture, because we have 1 less egg and a little less oil than the cake mix says, you've got a cookie mix here. Now we take these in heaping tablespoonfuls and we'll cook them. So right now I'm going to cook this, and then you mix the cream cheese while it's baking for 6 minutes, only 6 minutes. Then you take it out, make a hole, and then put the cheesecake mix in, put it back in the oven. So I'm going to put this on a cookie sheet with some parchment paper, and I'm going to do that now in heaping tablespoon mix. It says to use ice cream, what do you call those? Ice cream lifters, but I can't find one. I have a smallish one, a half one. I might use that. Whew! I have never made anything red velvet before. Have you? I would love some hints on all this, but from just tasting it, my teeth got stained. I had to wipe them off. It does come off your hands, by the way, but it's a good thing I have red nail polish on, because I'm sure it's underneath my nails right now, but I'll get that off when I finish. Trying to make the balls was tricky. If you're going to use your hands without gloves, you're going to get it all over your hands, and it is sticky. Remember, the dough consistency is like a cookie dough. It's not going to be like a cake consistency, because remember, you put 1 less egg and less oil, etc. So It did stick to my fingers as I tried to round the balls. I did use something. Let me show you. I really have to clean this off, I guess. Well, I did get every bit out, as you can see. But they're all formed and on the cake tin. I don't want to go up to you because I have it on parchment paper here and I don't want it to spill off. It said to use one of those ice cream scoops. That's the word I was thinking of before. Now, an ice cream scoop, as you know, is pretty large. It said if you don't have an ice cream scoop, do heaping tablespoons. Well, this is what I use for my ice cream. It's got red velvet cake all over it. I haven't cleaned this yet. How many of you have ever made a red velvet cake before? Did the water in your sink and everything else, including if you tasted it, your teeth, your lips, your tongue, did everything else get red? Whatever. They say it tastes wonderful. Neiman Marcus has a cake to its own name. So at any rate, this is what I have. It's sort of a half scoop, and I use this for ice cream, not one of those big round ones. But when you scoop, you can get kind of a nice round scoop, and that's why they're big. Now, for some reason or other, did I read that it made 24 cookies? If you use heaping tablespoonfuls, you're not going to get 24 cookies. I think I got 9, 11, so almost a dozen. So they're a nice big scoops. Now, they say to roll it once you get your nice rounded scoops onto the sheet. Roll them in what they call rock sugar, I think, which is shiny little pieces of sugar. It's decorative sugar. I couldn't find any at the market, so I didn't want it to affect the taste. So I did roll it in a little bit of Splenda once again, just for the taste to make sure on the outside. And you'll see a little bit of that on there. You could roll it in regular sugar if you want. I don't know whether it affects the taste. I'm going to put them in the oven, preheated oven, 350 for 6 minutes. And then you take them out and you use the back of your spoon and you make the scoop, a nice big round scoop without hitting the bottom in the middle of the cookie. And then you put your cream cheesecake mix in, which I have just mixed by hand, by the way. If you soften it for half a minute in the microwave, you can mix that egg yolk and a little bit of, half a teaspoon of the vanilla, and it mixes beautifully. Just mix the sugar. You can mix it by hand, and it does whisk up nicely. So I have it here waiting, ready to go in. It's all mixed, and it's ready to fill after I bake the cookies for 6 minutes. And then you put them back in. Set the timer for 6 minutes. I just put the cookies in. So while those cookies are cooking for 6 minutes, shouldn't take long. So in this mixture, we had 4 ounces of cream cheese, which I did soften for 30 seconds in the microwave. I put 1 egg yolk in and a half a teaspoon of vanilla. That's it. Oh, and my sugar, 1/3 of a cup of sugar. And I use Splenda, so this is all ready to go. You could use the immersion blender for this or any blender. I just really did it with the spoon. Since I softened my cream cheese, it's fine. So that's waiting to go in the middle. So when they come out, I'll just make this nice little hole in the middle of each cookie, fill it with this, and they go back in. While those cookies are doing the partial bake for 6 minutes, I have gotten this nice and creamy, the cream cheese mixture. And it says to take a teaspoon and fill each one after you make a scoop with the back of that rounded ice cream scooper. And make sure you don't hit the bottom. Then you bake it back in again for 9 to 11 minutes until you think they're done. And that bakes the cream cheese mix in the middle. Then you take them out and hopefully they're wonderful. And no one winds up with red teeth. If they do, make sure you wash your teeth afterward. So that's let's see how they turn out. I'll just go and rest for a minute and probably clean the red velvet out from under my nails. Are you having a happy Valentine's Day? Don't give up on this recipe. I seem a little bit frustrated, which I am, and it's only because I've never made a red velvet cake. I didn't know about the staining and everything. And of course, this mixture, which I'm warning you ahead of time, is not going to be like a cake mixture. It is rough to use, so I'll go off to the oven and get them out, and let's see what they look like. Here they are. As you can see, they've gotten bigger. Now I'm taking the cleaned off the spoon. So I'm going to very gently make a scoop in the middle, being sure not to hit the bottom. So it flattens the cookie somewhat. Okay. Can you see? If I hold this up, I just push the back of the spoon in the middle, make a nice scoop, rounded scoop. You know what? For all the bother and frustration and worrying about the thickness of the batter and the red stain, I think they're going to be delicious. I love cheesecake anyway. All right, I don't know whether you can see, I've tried not to go to the bottom of the cookie because we don't want the cream cheese falling out. Now I'm going to fill them up with my cream cheese mixture, which as you can see is nice and soft. This was a snap doing this. This was no problem. So you just fill up in the middle some cream cheese. Well, I hope I have enough for the whole thing. Just lick that bowl. Show them to you up here. Okay, they all have a teaspoonful of cheesecake mixture in them. Don't they look good? Now I'm going to put them back in and cook them. Finish the cooking for 9 to 11 minutes, depending on how many. I'm going to fix this for 9 minutes on my timer, and I'll check them. If they need another minute or two, I'll put them back in. They're in the oven at 350. That's that. I have a very messy kitchen now to clean up. Hope my teeth are clean. They're very red. And they smell great. Now they say not to cook them too long because they'll harden. You don't want them hardened. You want them to stay soft. They look wonderful. Leave them on the cookie sheet for another 10 minutes just to let them set and do their final little cook, I guess. So there it is, ready for a lovely Valentine dessert for Moosie and myself. I'm not going to try one, but when we eat them, I will let you know how they turned out. They look good, and I will put all the directions, even though parts of it seemed a little frustrating to me in the beginning. So don't follow the directions on the box. Follow the directions for the cheesecake red velvet cookie mix that I give you. Okay, well, I'm going to finish this up in there. And I guess that's it for the day. It started to rain again, and it's going to be raining for 3 days. I did go out this morning very early at 8 o'clock, and I had to get my red velvet cake mix. And sure enough, Mom's had it. So I had to pick up an iced coffee on the way home. I think it's helping to clean my teeth. Oh no, coffee doesn't clean your teeth, does it? But it sure tastes good. Thanks for watching. I hope I didn't frustrate you. I think they're worth it. Well, what did you think? Are you going to wind up making these cookies? I've never made a red velvet cake before. I've eaten one, but I didn't have to deal with the batter and getting the color and the stain all over my hands and my teeth when I would lick my fingers or whatever. It was funny. And in the other frustrating moment, of course, was the fact that the batter was so thick. It was a cookie a cookie batter, and it was difficult to mix. So I hope you don't become frustrated yourself. Make these, because the cheesecake filling, I think, even though it's only a heaping teaspoonful, I think makes the cookie, plus the color. Don't know what my main supper is going to be yet, but it will be something yummy. It won't be red. I'm fairly certain of that.
I could smell those cookies, but you're not going to give me one?
No way. You have to wait.
Oh, no. Well, anyway, let me say happy Valentine's Day. Give my heart to all you people out there. God bless you.
That I did want to show you my sweater and my necklace from my children, which I showed you while I was in the kitchen. I wear this every Valentine's Day with the matching earrings that the children gave to me. Oh gosh, Colleen and Mikey were in junior high. The rest of them were high school and maybe even older. And by the way, this I've loved. A couple of years ago, Margie, our daughter Margie, was into making resin, and she has made some fabulous things. Everything from picture frames and this beautiful heart and some jewelry and coasters. I do love the heart. It's one of my favorite things, and definitely a Valentine's one. By the way, Margie's birthday is tomorrow. She's my Valentine baby. I wanted her born on Valentine's Day, and it was going to be my first induction because I had such giant babies, 10, 11, and 12 pounds. The doctor at the time said, I think maybe we'll induce you 3 weeks early so you don't have another giant baby. She was my fourth, and I had the first 4 back east. So I said, okay, then I picked Valentine's Day. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, I'll be out of town on Valentine's Day, but I can do it on the 13th, the day before. So unfortunately, Margie is 1 day away from Valentine's Day. So happy birthday, Margie. And Teeny, I will blow the candle out right when I finish this. Don't you worry. If those of you who have not subscribed yet are enjoying our channel, why not push that subscribe button and subscribe and comment? I'd love to hear from you. I want to thank you all for watching and for binging and for being here for both Moosie and I. We love the comments and appreciate all your love and support. Bye for now. Happy Valentine's Day. Love and kisses to all.